For over 3 millennia, a remarkable civilization flourished along the Nile, ruled by pharaohs, living gods on earth. Their lives, shrouded in gold and ceremony, were woven with immense power, faith, and tradition. But behind the gilded masks and monuments lie stories of ritual, mystery, and unsettling secrets. Let's journey into the sacred heart of ancient Egypt. The word pharaoh has a fascinating origin. It didn't always refer to the ruler of Egypt himself. In fact, it originally meant great house, a term used to describe the royal palace, the grand seat of power and administration, rather than the individual who ruled. The phrase per-aa in ancient Egyptian literally translates to great house, and it was used much like we might refer to the White House today, meaning the institution rather than the person. Over time, as the palace became inseparable from the king's identity, the term pharaoh gradually shifted in meaning. It evolved from signifying the building and its bureaucracy to representing the king himself. This merging of man and state was a powerful transformation, symbolizing that the ruler was not just a person, but the living embodiment of Egypt's government and its people. This shift in language reflected a deeper truth about Egyptian society. The pharaoh was seen as the ultimate authority. He was the palace, the government, and the divine force that held the nation together. His word was law, and his presence was believed to ensure the prosperity and stability of the land. By calling their king Pharaoh, Egyptians were doing more than just giving him a title. They were acknowledging him as the living symbol of the nation itself, the bridge between the gods and the people, and the heart of Egypt's identity. Over centuries, the title Pharaoh became a symbol of divinity on earth. The king was not only a political leader, but also a god in human form, responsible for maintaining order and harmony in the world. What began as a simple reference to a building was transformed by history and belief into the very definition of the Egyptian state, a word that came to embody power, divinity, and the enduring legacy of ancient Egypt. A prince was not simply born to rule. In ancient Egypt, the path to the throne was a journey of transformation, discipline, and immense responsibility. From the moment of birth, a royal child was set apart, destined for greatness, but burdened with expectations that would shape every aspect of his life. He was forged through relentless training, both physically and mentally, under the watchful eyes of seasoned warriors and wise tutors. Every day was a test, pushing him to his limits and beyond. Young princes mastered the arts of combat, hunting, and chariot warfare, proving their strength, agility, and courage before the eyes of the court. These skills were not just for show, they were essential for survival and for commanding respect among both allies and rivals. Public hunts became grand spectacles, serving as tests of their ability to conquer chaos and protect Egypt from threats, both real and symbolic. Success in these trials was seen as a sign of divine favor and readiness to lead. Alongside physical training, princes immersed themselves in the study of diplomacy, law, history, and sacred rituals. They learned to read and write, to negotiate, and to understand the complex web of alliances and traditions that held the kingdom together. This dual education, combining the spiritual with the practical, created rulers who embodied both divine perfection and effective leadership. They were seen as living gods, yet also as wise and just kings. The making of a pharaoh was a lifelong trial of body and mind, a journey that demanded unwavering dedication, sacrifice, and the constant pursuit of excellence. Only through this crucible could a mere mortal ascend to the status of a god-king, ready to guide Egypt into eternity. Only the pharaoh could truly commune with the gods. Priests acted as his proxies. Every temple ritual, every offering was performed in his name. The pharaoh's role was to maintain ma'at, cosmic order, by feeding and appeasing the gods. His presence was essential for Egypt's survival. Failure meant chaos. This belief granted him unparalleled spiritual and political authority. The pharaoh's false beard wasn't simply a matter of style or personal adornment. It was a powerful symbol of divinity and authority, deeply rooted in ancient Egyptian beliefs. This iconic accessory, often crafted from gold and intricately braided, was reserved exclusively for the rulers of Egypt. Modeled after the beards of the gods, especially the god Osiris, the false beard marked the pharaoh as a living Horus, a divine being on earth. It was a visual declaration that the ruler was not just a mortal, but a bridge between the human and the divine. Even female pharaohs like the remarkable Hatshepsut donned the ceremonial beard. This wasn't an attempt to disguise their gender, but rather a bold statement to claim the sacred right of kingship and to embody the godly power expected of a ruler. The false beard transcended gender and personal identity, uniting all pharaohs under a single divine image. It was a crucial part of the royal regalia, cementing the pharaoh's authority and legitimacy in the eyes of the people and the gods. To rule Egypt, one had to look the part. Every detail, including the beard, was essential in projecting power, stability, and a connection to the gods. The false beard was more than an ornament. It was an inseparable emblem of godly power, a timeless symbol that defined the very essence of Egyptian kingship. The pharaoh's titles reinforced his absolute authority. Chief among them, Lord of the Two Lands. He unified Upper and Lower Egypt, holding the kingdom together. As high priest of every temple, he was both supreme religious and political leader. His decrees were divine commands, and his military role made him the nation's protector. All power, political, religious, military, was fused in the God King. The pharaoh's image was defined by his regalia, the Nemes headdress, the uraeus cobra, and the crook and flail. The Nemes set him apart. The uraeus symbolized divine protection. The crook and flail represented his dual role as provider and judge. Each item was a visual statement of his authority and responsibility. Together, they encapsulated the pharaoh's power and duty. Egyptian art idealized the pharaoh, portraying him as eternally youthful and perfect. This wasn't vanity, it was theological necessity. The king's image projected stability and divine order, masking any human frailty. Statues and reliefs were ideological statements, not portraits. The real man was hidden behind a mask of perfection. The pharaoh embodied a duality, living as Horus, the sky god, and becoming Osiris, god of the dead, after death. This cycle legitimized his rule and ensured continuity. Each new king was the next Horus, the dead king became Osiris. The throne was never empty. Divine order was unbroken. Life and death were balanced in a perpetual cycle. The pharaoh's dramatic eye makeup was more than style. It invoked the protection of Horus. Kohl outlined the eyes like the falcon god, warding off evil and disease. The makeup was both a spiritual shield and practical defense against infection and sun. It fused magic and medicine, protecting the king physically and spiritually. Every detail served a purpose beyond appearance. Pharaohs were obsessed with the afterlife. Their tombs were houses of eternity. Tombs were filled with goods, spells, and art to ensure a successful journey to the underworld. Mummification preserved the body as a vessel for the soul. This was a state project, reflecting a belief in eternal life and power. Death was not an end, but a transformation. Royal mummies reveal a stark contrast to idealized art. Many pharaohs were unhealthy and plagued by disease. Their images were propaganda, hiding frailty and age. The reality was obesity, dental problems, and arthritis. Art maintained the illusion of divine strength. The truth lay hidden beneath the wrappings. The pharaoh's afterlife required sustenance. Tombs were stocked with preserved food and drink. Even food was mummified, prepared to last for eternity. Tutankhamun's tomb held baskets of fruit, wine, and meat. Egyptians saw the afterlife as a tangible continuation of earthly pleasures. Eternal banquets awaited the king. Pharaohs expected to be joined in the afterlife by their beloved pets. Animals were mummified and buried with their royal masters. This practice reflected genuine affection, and sometimes ritual sacrifice. Pets were companions for eternity, but their fate could be grim. Even in death, the pharaoh's world was carefully curated. Embalmers, though essential, were mistrusted and viewed with suspicion. Families delayed handing over bodies of high-status women to prevent abuse. This grim precaution reveals anxieties about death and the low status of embalmers. Even in death, honor had to be fiercely protected. Mummification was a brutal, invasive process, removing the brain, organs, and drying the body with natron. The heart was left inside, believed to be the seat of intelligence. Organs were preserved in canopic jars. The body was wrapped in linen and amulets. The process was gruesome but essential for eternal life. It was a testament to the lengths Egyptians went to conquer death. The pharaohs were gods in life, but their secrets reveal their humanity. Behind the gold and ceremony were people who loved, feared, and suffered. Their propaganda hid flaws, but their stories make them relatable. These revelations enrich their legacy, showing the pharaohs as complex mortal beings. The journey into their world continues, full of mystery, power, and humanity.